some of those trades and that they're not, it's okay to go to work and get dirty and to come home and at the end of the day, you're tired, but it's a good tired.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
absolutely.
You know, I used to say that sitting at the college. I mean, I'd sit in a class and guys would give me crap and be like, you know, oh, that must be nice having, you know, a semi-retired job, you know, and you go, it amazed me how freaking tired you can be just sitting there. I mean, like if I didn't physically do something that day, working with the guys, just answering questions and just being out there, I mean, 6-7 hours of that. And dude, I was more tired than I could have been working 6 or 8 hours on a job site.
It was the mental part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this question, and you kind of hit us a good point. So, seeing a generation, you're starting to see a bounce back, kind of like I am, and that's what I'm starting to see. You know, what here's the thing. All of a sudden, the Department of Labor, and listen, I think the intention's good, but what I see is, and I listen. I live in Council Bluffs. My kids went to Lewis Central. We're going to be out in Riverside tomorrow, actually, for a career day. We're actually going to, my company, the plumbing HVAC, we're going to take some stuff out there tomorrow. We're going to be out there for a half day.
Nice.
And we've been to a few of these. We went to Glenwood. We've done Lewis Central. We've done Council Bluffs. So, you know, trying to teach people a little bit about what we do.
Right.
But what do you see, you know, and listen, like I said, you want your doctor to have a degree. You want your veterinarian to have a degree. My wife's an ICU nurse. She has a 4-year degree. Yep. You want, there's some skill that you have to go to school to get a degree. I don't think we're going to argue that. But not everything. I mean, we have an apprenticeship program in my business. Yep. And I'm not against trade schools. As a matter of fact, I went to a really good trade school up in Mason City, Iowa, Nyack. Great program. Yep. Loved every minute of it. And I would not be where I was at today without that program. I have a feel a lot of people would say the same thing about your program where you taught for several years. But what do you see? Because there's a lot of kids, I say kids, young adults, who want to play with their phones, maybe don't want to work or maybe don't understand the value. What would be your answer, or how would you get that message out to the younger generation? Your son is getting into that early part of that generation.
Yeah.
To get people that said, hey, you want to go to Iowa? Fantastic. You want to come be a framer like Dad? There's great money in that too. And besides being your kids, but if you had a chance to talk to other kids, I mean, you've been around this like I have for a long time.
Yeah.
What's your answer? Because I think throwing money is one thing, but money itself is not the answer. What can you see that I think that a lot of people are missing out on to get more young adults, high school kids, young college, 25, 26 years old that went to school, that realized the English major pays you $10 an hour, and you didn't have to get $80,000 in debt to have the same English major. Sorry, nothing against the English major, but I mean, just your perspective. What do you see that might help open some people's eyes? Because I think there's a lot of information out there, but I think that there's more people more interested in chasing the money from a high school tech program perspective than actually making changes to kids' lives, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does make sense. I mean, I think that's why apprenticeships have gained some ground too. You know, I mean, if I can come work for you and I can learn and get paid, you know,
and have no college debt and have no debt when you're done.
I have no debt when I'm done, and I have a job already, right? You know, so I don't even have to go to the first day and be nervous because I already know you. You know, I mean, I'm just done with my apprenticeship. Yeah, right.
No,
but you know that is a hard one because you know I think for the longest time, I certainly money's always a factor for sure.
Oh yeah,
you know,
no doubt.
And I think for the longest time, I think there was the stigma amongst I don't care what trade. If it wasn't a 4-year thing, if you were a plumber, electrician, welder, carpenter, manufacturing guy, I think there was that stigma of it's just a subpar job. That
Mm-hmm.
it's not. It's not something I want to go home and tell grandma and grandpa about that I chose to do. But then the reality is, I think they're starting to see that. I mean, there's a take your job for instance. I mean, or even construction. I mean, when you start talking down the building science side of things, and I mean, there's a lot of really technical stuff. I mean,
Yes.
it's not just show up and dig holes all day. It's
No.
you, granted there are those jobs too. I mean, we do need people. We do need people that are just going to do manual labor,
Yeah.
but but you don't have to be that. I mean, it's
No.
you can be in the trades and be a very. I mean, just go out on social media. Go out on social media and find some of these contractors and guys that have Instagram pages and look at the projects they're doing.
Oh,
I mean, I'm going to pick on one guy. I have a past student that he's at the lakes.
uh-huh.
He works for a custom home builder up there. Um, when the kid came to school,
Mm-hmm.
um, good kid, but had no real construction experience.
Yeah.
None at all. And
Yeah.
and just kind of soaked it in. Went on 2 or 3 of the trips with us, and it took him a little bit to kind of land where I think he really knew that he had a desire to do something really creative. And now he works for this custom home company up there, and the stuff he sends me pictures of that he's building
You
is,
probably got holy shit.
oh, it is. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. First of all, I'm thinking, holy crap, what does that cost? And because it's unbelievable stuff. But I mean, I think it's stuff like that. It's that kind of marketing that, and granted, not everybody's doing that, but
Mm-hmm.
you need to understand that there's potential there to go just as far as you want to go. I mean, it's just like
Mm-hmm.
any
Oh,
other job. Honestly, maybe even more. Because if I go
yeah.
take my current position, right?
Yeah.
If I and I often have this conversation with my wife. Maybe I better watch what I'm saying because the school district might listen in on me. But I often have this conversation with my wife. When I was self-employed, just like
Mm-hmm.
you, I mean, you can make choices that change the direction of your business,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
And
Do it all the time.
yeah, right. And sometimes you make a choice that you think is going to be a great one, and it ends up
It's
maybe not
like,
being so great, right?
yeah.
And,
Well, we screwed up on that one, but
yeah.
you can reverse course. So
And if you ask some of my students, we always used to talk about that. I know some of them still remember because it was. I'd always tell them, when you make a mistake, I said you chalk it up as two things. It's tuition and it's marketing. I
yeah,
said because you just learned something that you're never going to forget.
yeah, that's true.
Because honestly, that's the things I remember the most is the times I really screwed something up.
Oh yeah, that's how you learn. It's great learning
Yeah,
opportunities. So.
and so mark it up as tuition because any place else that you were going to learn, they were going to make you pay for it. So you're paying for it. And I said, and then just chalk it up as tuition because you know what, or marketing because I said, if I'm doing a job for you, Trav, and I way underestimated it,
Yeah.
and I'm taking it in the shorts, the best thing I could do is just go ahead and finish it and do the same quality job that I would have done even if I was still making money.
Yeah.
Because you're going to go tell all your buddies how great of a job I did and how freaking cheap it was.
There you go. This was a $10,000 job. I got it for $5,000. You'd be like, yeah, guess what? Nobody else gonna get that for $5,000.
No, nobody else is going to get that deal again. But I'm going to make sure that you tell everybody it was great.
Yeah,
So,
and you're gonna call me and they're gonna go, well, his was $5,000. Well, you know what? The calculator was not quite working right there.
yeah, cost of materials has gone way up.
Yeah,
Blame it on COVID.
yeah, materials and labor and COVID.
Yeah.
Oh my! But you're 100% right. And, until you've been a business owner, doing this, and nobody understands it. It's my wife will tell you, the Air Serv Parts a franchise, the Wallside
Yep.
Plumbing's not.
Yep.
We're not going to get into politics, but uh, what I will tell you is with business, but learn a franchise.
Mm-hmm.
For the money that I paid to a franchise, I could have paid for a hell of a degree at Harvard.
Sure. Yeah.
And my wife will tell you, but I made a decision, and it's there's been some good. There's some
Yep.
stuff I don't like, but that's that way. That's how life is. That's how
Right.
jobs are. You're not going to like everything that you're doing. There is no. If you find utopia, call me because I want to come see what your utopia is. Because your utopia might be way different than what my utopia is.
Well,
But
it's really just it's a couple of hours straight west of Iowa City. Just no.
Lames, Lames. Is that what we're talking about? So you mean Kinnick kind of west because Lincoln's actually Kinnick west, and then we got Kinnick North, which is up in Minneapolis. So like I said, your kids are smarter than you.
Yeah,
I don't
I
know what the
know.
heck to tell you.
Yeah.
So
So mission accomplished, right? I mean, you want your kids to be smarter than you, right?
there you go.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. So,
No,
but
but I do think that that's part of the appeal. Is I think kids are starting to see that they can make a good living. They can have honestly, I've always thought I mean our jobs are pretty strenuous, but you also have some flexibility. I mean,
tons.
and there comes something with that too. I mean, and like I said, I think the industry as a whole has done a good job of marketing to that idea. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Mike Rowe's been talking about it for
A
you know
long time.
10, 12 years, and they. I just saw the other day it popped up that I think the last day of April was the last day to apply for his what do they call it, work ethic scholarships or whatever, and
Yeah,
they were giving away another $1 million, and
it's crazy. Yeah.
and it if you're willing to roll up your sleeves and dig in, and yeah,
Mm-hmm. Well, some of the neat stuff that's out there with Skills USA. I mean, my boys did it. I mean,
yep,
Harley did it for IT. As we
yep,
talked about IT. Can't spell shit without IT. Harley, I love you. So it is what it is. Hayden did Skills USA in high school doing HVAC. That's a big thing. Was it DECA? I mean, DECA is not exactly trades, but I know
yep,
DECA is
yep,
still pretty popular. And so I think what it is, you know, you, I would never tell any bird. I had a gal, I'd say a lady, 22 years old, friend of mine,
yep,
her dad's friend of mine. She's been a vet for 3 years, 4 years, and she wants to look at doing HVAC or electrical. I was supposed to call her tonight at my meeting, so I'm gonna call her tomorrow. I'm gonna say, "Hey, sorry," but she wants to get traced because she's not happy being a vet tech, and it's like, okay, she likes it, but it's not her forever, whatever. But here's the thing, you don't know until you look at it. And here's the deal. That's the nice part of what we do. If you work for me for 3 months, and I've got a kid right now, he came on,
yep,
knows nothing about HVAC. He might last 3 weeks. He might last 30 years. You don't know.
yep,
But here's the deal. He's not going to an Iowa or Iowa State or Nebraska or Minnesota or Wisconsin or even like a BV or, he's not putting himself $1,000 in a debt,
nope,
and I
nope,
fear he don't like it. The worst thing I hear from kids, or I say kids, young adults, they graduate. Well, I'm going to go to Iowa Western for a year. I'm going to go to NCC for a year to figure out what I want to do. So you don't know what you're going to do, but you're going to go to school for a year, spend money
yep.
to. It's like you got to put yourself. That makes no sense,
Yep.
and it's
Well,
just
that's
like,
what I did at Iowa State. I mean, I went for a semester, but I mean, I really didn't know what I wanted to do.
yeah.
Just pick
Well,
something and really, yeah.
yeah.
I probably would have been maybe just as well off, hitting a trade. And we did, it always was amazing to me, the guys we had that were farmers' kids,
Oh
they
yeah.
came in and said, well, Dad said I had to learn something. But they all knew, hey, I'm going to be really busy in the spring and really busy in the fall, but
hmm
the rest of the year, boy, I can do carpenter work. I could go to work for an electrician. I can weld,
Yeah.
and they knew they could get a job making good money doing that outside of
Yeah.
farming.
You,
So,
you know how many firefighters, and it's kind of the same thing, that do firefighting, it goes
oh yeah,
24 on, 24 off, and how many of them have a secondary skill or trade? Right
yep,
around here, I can name 15 of them. They're
sure,
your electricians, they do metal buildings, they do whatever,
yep,
because they have a decent job as a firefighter, but they got all this off time.
yep,
So they either sit around doing nothing, or they go find a skill or trade that they can do, which
yeah,
actually, with a firefighter, if you go and find a fire, let's say it's electrical fire, a structural fire, if you got a background in that, you understand this stuff. So it
yeah,
actually is a benefit
pretty
to your
helpful.
job as a
Yeah,
firefighter. Oh, absolutely, it's
yeah,
very helpful.
yep,
Um, and it's no different as far as farming. Now, the family farm isn't what it was when we were growing up
nope,
by a stretch. I mean, I'm not going to get into the argument of it, but there's not necessarily, how do I say it? There's farming, there's local farming, but family farming is very few and far between. Most, even family farms at this point are corporations.
oh,
But,
absolutely,
if you're, we have a cousin Sean that lives down in Sioux Rapids, and
yep,
he farms. He's got livestock. He's got hogs. If you got hogs, it's a full time operation. But if he was a
sure,
grain farmer, he'd have to go find something else to do. He still substitute teaches in January because there ain't nothing else for him to do.
yep,
And you know what? And it is what it is. That's what he does. But I listen. Whether it's a skilled trade or something you got a background in, if you've got the time, and a lot of these jobs you just never know. I mean, my wife's I seen her. She works 312. She can work in her job if she wants to, but no,
yep,
she wants to do her hobby stuff at home, and that's fine. But I only work 80 hours a week, but we won't talk about that. Um, but I mean, there's opportunities out there if you want to learn something. And if someone's willing to teach you, or you do an apprenticeship program, or you go through a program to where you can learn something a year, in a 2 year trade program, to whatever it is.
yep,
Hell, I know a kid right now. Here's a great example. I actually had his stepdad on 2 weeks ago. He went to work for the city of Council Bluffs, originally to mow lawns, and he got on at the water treatment facility, so wastewater treatment plant. He got into it, and everybody's giving shit. Well, you're playing with poop. He goes, you know how much science there is behind doing that and water quality? And yeah, it's a stinky job.
right,
But he says, we gotta actually filtrate and do all this stuff, and we have to dump it back. We have to put it back into the Missouri River to a quality that's drinkable and it's safe for the public.
yeah,
And there's a lot involved with that, and what they do with the product, and what happens with it. And let's say if Sap Brothers here in Council Bluffs, or another, somebody else dumps oil. You hear about oil spills, you hear
yep,
about not, chemical spills, and how that affects, your water quality. He says what it means to him is the science. And I actually am going to hopefully get him on here, Prick. I would tell the science of what blows him away, and but it's not like, it's, I think science, and I think in high school, to where they have these molecules and they got these letters behind it, and it's like whatever, but he's like, it's hands-on science. So you're learning, it's instead of theory, it's practical. And it's like,
yeah,
yeah, I can see myself doing this for a long time. So if you look at it from that perspective, and a kid that wants to be energized, and he's 21, he's at 21 years old. That's huge. I mean, that's something that's like, I could do this, and I'm getting paid to do
right.
it, which is pretty cool in my opinion. So, and we need more of that. And the thing is, the opportunities are there. People just have to be open to it.
And it's that same concept where you say, if you've got kids, if you've got a kid that's struggling in a geometry class or a science class in your high school, if you took him down to the shop and made that science and that geometry and that algebra relatable, you'd be surprised how many of them get it.
Yeah. Hey, listen, this kid right here
Yeah.
failed Algebra 1 once, and I had to take it a second time, and I barely passed geometry.
Yeah.
Now, I've got a son that's a computer science and math major, so figure that one out. Bring me a tape measure, give me something where we got to build something, but A plus Z
Yeah.
equals 3 doesn't mean nothing to this
Yep.
kid.
Yeah. Well, and the reality, like when I went to trade school, all of our, we had a math and a communications and some classes we have to take, but they were all geared right towards our program. So
Yeah.
like my math was math for carpenters, right? And
Yeah.
so any of the algebra or the geometry and stuff, I mean, it directly went into, I mean, roof framing or stair framing or things that I can remember thinking. Well, I remember seeing this in high school,
Yeah.
but I really didn't give a crap about it because I
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
care what a plus b or a squared plus b squared equals c squared. I mean, as soon as you interjected the alphabet into my math, I was out.
Oh yeah, I was out. I was
And
gone. Let's put it this way: if I had to go by the math standard today, I would have never graduated high school because I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah. But then when you took me into a room and said related it to a triangle on a staircase or a roof, and I went, oh,
there you
well,
go.
now it makes sense,
Yeah,
and then it didn't seem so bad because it had a purpose to me,
yeah,
and
yeah.
and I think I think you're seeing that. I think you're seeing really smart kids that they go down to the shop in a good shop setting. They go down there and they see those same principles being applied in a way they can put their hands on it, and then it's kind of exciting, I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
and they see stuff that they didn't.
When their eyes go like this, and all of a sudden they're gonna be, oh,
Yeah,
now I get
yeah,
it. It's like hell yeah, that's what we're talking about.
yep.
So, yep,
So
yeah, it's crazy. So. Well, I know you're sitting in a classroom. I'm not sure where the heck you're at.
I'm actually I hijacked a conference room over in our preschool building. So
Great,
I had
great.
to bring my son to town for youth group, and I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna. This is quiet, and it's got internet, and I'm gonna
Well, the
hijack
internet's
it.
great because your stuff's like 99% loaded, so I'm pretty impressed with
Yeah.
that. So
So
last time I had a guy shut off too soon, so we gonna have to worry about that. So we'll
no,
be good. So,
no,
but
it's good. It's good. And that's the thing. Like this job. I mean, and that's where I was going a little bit ago. Is you run into a position like this, and that's where you kind of you take and you weigh your pros and cons. But like here, I've got a position that, yeah, am I going to get a raise every year? Probably, maybe. I work for the
yeah,
government, so you never know. And
yeah, well,
but if I get a raise this year, I'll send you a thank you note. And, but
might be the stamp. That might be all they give you for a raise.
probably, but and like you said, I've been self-employed too, and so what that's like is, if you get halfway through a year and say, you know what, we're going to kick it in the ass here, and
Mm-hmm.
when I go out on a Saturday, those are billable hours,
Yeah.
and there's I have some more control, and I can still see a future where I go, you know what, I'm gonna bump my business up, or like you said, I mean, you guys just all of a sudden you have a plumbing business, right?
Yeah.
And so there's opportunity for expansion and growth in different directions where, you know, the pros and cons. I mean, my position, I'm a little more fixed now, right? I
Yeah.
mean, but this, on the same note, I mean, I know where I'm coming every day, and I know my paycheck is showing up on a certain date into my bank account.
Yeah,
And
it's security. There's two sides to it, and
yep,
you know what? And none of them's wrong.
nope,
You know,
nope,
but it's your experiences that have gotten you to be able to take on this opportunity, which is great. I
right,
mean, like you said, working for a school system. What you're doing,
well,
facilities is probably a thankless job because people don't realize all the stuff that's involved with it, the people that are involved with it.
yeah.
But you don't have that job without some of the experiences you had before you walked
Oh,
into it.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, it's a culmination of all the things that I've done to this point. But, and it's also a testament to those kids that are looking at trades going, I mean, they don't all look like yours. They don't all look like mine. They don't,
Yeah.
some of them are office jobs. Some of them are salary jobs. Some of
Yeah.
them are hourly jobs, or, you can run a business, you can be an entrepreneur. Um, so you still have all the same options as if you went
Hmm.
to that 4-year school.
Yeah.
You just might not get a job at the surgical center down the road doing heart surgery.
Hey, listen, there's nothing but a bottle of Jack Daniels or vodka, and be some baling wire, some duct tape, and some can't fix. Oh, wait a minute, you don't want me operating? Yeah, I
Yeah,
can't.
remind me not to call you if I'm getting chest pains or anything. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, more than likely I just fucking hit you in the chest.
you show up with jumper cables probably. Yeah,
Woo, really? Stipple, there you
there you
go.
go. Yeah,
Oh, we'll do that to Steve.
yeah, yeah. He's got a 4-year
Uh,
degree. He can handle it.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, he would get a with the Ball State, the Manscaped sponsors Ball State. So I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
what can you
What's he call it? The
testicle
testicle tech
use?
or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
testicle tech. There you go. There you go. Good old Ball State testicle tech. There you
yeah.
go. So,
So
uh, so
no, that's good.
well. Well, Ryan, I appreciate you coming on. Your perspective is very interesting with your background in teaching in college, but then also, working in the real world, business owner, seeing it and dealing with young adults, and you're still dealing
Sure.
with it a little bit different perspective. So,
Yeah,
I appreciate you coming on. So thank you.
yeah. Well,
I appreciate that. And for everybody that's out there, I'm going to throw this out here again. We're new to YouTube, so go out there, watch it, like it. This video is probably long enough. They might make it a two-part stuff, which that's okay. It's
all
not
right.
a problem. So, but we are on Spotify too. So if you're driving down the road and you don't want to see my smiling face or his bald head, I mean that shine is kind of going all
I got a little
around.
glare there.
Um, but go out there, like it, listen to it. If you like what you hear, you're someone to be interested, tell your friends about it. Listen, I don't have all the answers, and Ryan doesn't have all the answers, but it's bringing up conversation about life experiences and talking about opportunity for kids and getting them involved and keeping people in communities. Frankly, people don't want to see young adults going to big cities if there's opportunities in their front yard. Sheldon's a great example, small town, Northwest
Yeah.
Iowa. You want to keep people in town. Well, you have to have opportunities. So I think that's really huge. So,
Well,
so
and I appreciate you asking me to come on, and it took us a few nights to try and nail down a day, but like you said, it creates opportunity. It allows young kids to see that. When you look at our community, the guys that are doing my kind of work,
hmm
they're all my age or older.
yeah,
I'm only 35, but
yeah. Let me pull my waders on. Hold my muck boots up.
somehow my mind says I'm 35, but the calendar says I'm going to be 50 this year. So, but when I look around at the guys, a lot of them are the same guys that have always been doing the same work with
Oh
me.
yeah,
So they're all getting old,
yeah,
and we don't have a lot of those young people stepping into positions, and they need to realize that there is
yeah.
opportunity, and even just right here. Um,
Yeah. Flexibility, opportunity, not
yeah,
a ton of people getting into it. And if you want to talk money, not that money's everything
yeah,
because happiness is part, but I like being flexible. Money's important, don't get me wrong. But there's reasons for that because there's some things that people don't want to do. Listen, everybody wants to be a computer person, sit in front of a computer and do whatever all day. But you know what? There's millions of people that could do that. That's not. I
yep,
mean, nothing against it. I got a son's computer
yep,
science major, but there's a lot of people that just, well, I want to do computers. Well, what does that mean?
yeah.
And computers are part of life. It is what it is, but
Well,
there's life skills.
I'd kind of like to get Harley's take on that. He'd be an interesting guest on your show when you start. even things like AI. You know,
Oh yeah,
you know how many jobs the kids are going to school for right now that might not exist in 10 years.
we had to talk about this a month ago. So if you go back and watch it, we had an interesting conversation. And Harley OT is not an expert. I
Yeah,
got a franchise that thinks they know what the hell they're talking about. Yes, yes, Gabriel, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. By the way, I'll call it for what it is. But that think they know what they're talking about. And like I said, here's my deal. I don't need anybody talking for me.
yeah,
But that what it's AI is teaching people, and to me, it's sometimes it's a help. But listen,
yeah.
if I want to get a message out, I'll get a message out. And I sure as hell don't want to send out a politically correct message because that's something I am not, if you know what I'm saying.
Right.
So,
Yep.
so, so.
And so I think there's a lot of things going on in the world that you know you think back to our grandparents. I mean, we don't have to go that far back. Our great grandpa came over from
Oh,
Sweden,
yes, he
right?
did.
So
Yes, he 19. Let's
yeah,
see. My Howard was born in 1919. He had two brothers, if I remember right, that were born over in Sweden, if I remember right. So
one or two, yeah. I know,
yeah, it was
no,
somewhere in the
yeah.
teens. I know that. So,
And so,
so
but you just think back to a time when they came over and you just had to figure stuff out,
oh yeah,
you know,
absolutely,
and
absolutely.
and we even talked today about if the power grid went down and all this weird stuff. You get into the conspiracy theories, but it's amazing just in a couple generations the things that we don't know how to do that they did.
Yeah,
I think
it's
about I hung out at Art and Bonnie's on the farm. My grandpa and grandma, and I often think if the power would have went out and they said, hey, you guys can't go to town to the store for 2 weeks, I don't think they would have been too nervous.
no, they would have been.
You know,
Yeah, my grandfather would have had the 4020 with the generator and the PTO hooked
yeah,
up outside. I mean,
yeah,
and that was for the cattle, it wasn't for the house.
yeah,
Grandma still
right.
had
That's right.
froze her ass off.
Yeah, but I mean,
um,
and we're just not we've become so reliant on technology today that it's good and bad. You know,
yeah.
we don't have to memorize all the stuff we used to memorize because,
Well,
well,
yeah.
you know,
We have these
I've
damn
got this
things to do
computer.
it for you.
I was going to
Yeah,
say, we got this
exactly.
computer right here that's with me. For all those teachers that told you that you're never going to have a calculator everywhere you go.
There it is.
Oh man! So this is for you, Trav. I got 3 Hawkeye shirts on the front of my phone.
Thank
Look at that.
God. There you go. See,
No,
so,
no.
see, there's some intelligence in the family. So so
But
story. And before we go here, you're talking about that. There's a if you've ever been over to Dyersville, I was out over there last fall,
yeah,
and they got the tractor museum. So anybody that's been is in the tractors, I don't
hmm
care what color. If they're not green, I think there's something freaking wrong with you. But that's my opinion. But there's a guy over
I
there
have to
who
interject right there. I have a green one, but it says Oliver on the side, so everybody says it doesn't count.
well, that's all right. I'll let you have the Oliver. That's okay. But there's a guy over there who builds wood renditions of tractors.
Oh yeah,
And everything moves. The disc blades move, the shifters move, everything. He's got semis, he's got cars. This guy loves what he does.
yeah,
It's fantastic. I had a chance to speak with him for probably a good half hour. Me and my wife did. And the saddest story, I said, "You're great at this. I mean, this is really cool." And he's been around the country, he's talked to people. I said, "What about your kids and grandkids? They involved with it?" And they're like, "They want nothing to do with it."
yeah,
And I'm like, you know what? I can't get enough time with my grandparents.
yeah.
Can't get enough time to learn from my grand. And there's a man, he's 80 years old, still goes there almost every day, tells a story. And I felt bad when I asked him a question because I'm like, I hit a nerve. And
Sure.
I didn't mean to. I said, this is cool. If I was your grandpa, I'd be down here every day trying to learn this stuff because
Yeah.
you just get because no, my kids think it's dumb, and because of that, my grandkids hardly have anything to do with it because whatever. And it's like, and you know, these old bastards, and we're going to be these old bastards,
Yeah.
knew a lot of shit, and it was up
Oh,
here. They didn't have this. They didn't have the computer we're talking
Yep.
on, and the gray matter worked.
Yep.
And unfortunately, we need more people like that. We need that younger generation. And even I guess I would say we're getting the younger old generation.
Yeah.
That you got to be able to operate without this thing. And I felt really bad when I came back there, and I thought, you know what? I feel so bad for that guy. I said, every time I get a chance to tell that story, it's like, you know what? That guy does not deserve. I mean, his family doesn't always missing out, and I feel really bad for him.
Yeah.
I was like, because
Yeah,
I know
remarkable skill.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, you're a carpenter. I mean, and
Yeah.
he's like some of the tractors and combines and everything moved, everything worked.
Yeah.
And it's like, holy cow. You don't just pick up and do that one day. That's a lot of precision, a lot of time, a lot of.
Well, we used to always say that there's a big difference between a carpenter and a craftsman.
Yes.
And that guy, that's craftsmanship. I mean, that's
yeah. I want to go back there again. Next time Iowa plays up Wisconsin, I said I'm going to go back again. I want to see more stuff. I'm hoping he's there because his story was fantastic.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and that's. Just like you said, I mean, we're kind of that young old generation, and that's the trouble this generation trying to get into the trades is going to have is we had all those old guys.
Yeah, now we are the old guys.
We are. But the problem is the problem is there's only a third of us compared to what there was.
Oh, absolutely.
So every job site had that old guy, and he always knew, when you ran into an obstacle that they just didn't teach you in school.
Yeah.
He knew how to handle. I mean, it's just a strange scenario. I work with a plumber here in town, and he always it always resonates with me when I joke with him. I mean, we come across some stuff every now and then that's old and busted, and and you're just not sure how you're going to fix it. And he always kind of has this failing's not an option mentality. Right. Like we have to fix it. I mean, so we have to find a way. And and he's relying on all those years of experience of all the things he's stuck away in the gray matter, like you said, that if I'm the new guy, the 20-year-old guy, and I'm stuck with a 25-year-old guy, we don't have all that, and they're up against that wall a little bit. So I think it's important that they do the apprenticeship or go train somewhere because, it used to be a lot easier just to jump into a trade. Now it's just, it's going to be harder to learn.
Yeah. My favorite thing to do to my guys, they'll have this problem and they're like, oh, well, you've never seen this before. And I'll go to a job and let's say it's a 18-year-old Lennox or whatever. It's a rooftop unit. Says, so did you check this? No. Did you check this? No. Did you check this? Well, what are you talking about? I said, well, here's the problem. It's one of these three things. Here's what it is. Well, how do you know that? I said, because I had to work on all this old shit. And they kind of go, oh. Yeah. And then, first or second thing, well, you usually fix the freaking problem. So they're like, how did you know that? It's just like, well, know.
Because 25 years ago, when I was standing on that roof, that was new shit.
yeah. And I'm sitting there freezing my ass off because it's minus 15. The wind's blowing up my ass. And if I wanted to get in the truck and warm up, I had to
come up with a solution. Yeah. Yep. For sure.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
all
that's
right.
good.
Ryan, thank you very much. Like I said, hey, check us out on YouTube, Spotify. We'll have this out here on Sunday. So thank you, Ryan. Appreciate it. And talk to you soon.
Yeah, thanks.